They had printed it in gold foil, an ostentatious display on that low-quality nameplate. Bold letters, centered perfectly on the polished wood, read "Father of the Groom." But the truth hung heavily in the air, a truth no one saw but me. The lowly, uneducated fake dad. A man not even deserving of lowercase recognition. I stood there at the table, my hands trembling, barely able to breathe, as a smirk passed between her family and the smug bureaucrats at the table. One of them, a professor or some high-powered lawyer, laughed just a little too loudly. "Guess anyone can raise a kid these days," he muttered, just enough for me to hear. I felt a surge of humiliation that cut deep, gnawing at my insides. I was supposed to sit down, play my part, but I couldn't move. My son, my flesh and blood, didn't even flinch. He adjusted his cufflinks, ever the picture of calm, and kept chatting with his new in-laws like I was a ghost. He didn't notice the weight of the room, the silence that thickened as I stood there, fighting back tears. He was 3 when she left. No explanation, no goodbye, just a pile of unpaid bills, a stack of diapers, and silence. I became both father and mother. I worked construction by day, cleaned school halls by night. We ate cold rice for dinner, the same rice I would pack into plastic containers, then eat alone as he slept on that second-hand mattress we shared. I had barely finished grade 10, but I made sure he had what I lacked: discipline, grit, and the strength to keep his chin level when life threw punches. He had to face people head-on, never looking down, never looking up. I wanted him to know that no matter what, you never let the world see you broken. When he graduated, I sat at the back of the auditorium, not wanting to embarrass him, though I could tell by the way he looked at me that he didn't want me there. Still, I clapped the loudest, a quiet pride filling me. Then the signs came. He stopped calling me Dad, replaced it with Pops, and eventually just Hey. He grew more distant. "You wouldn't get it," he'd say. His eyes glazed over as he spoke about his work. I smiled, nodded, convinced it was all part of him growing up, part of life moving forward. But it was more than that. I was becoming invisible. The breaking point came on a random afternoon. I brought him lunch, homemade stir-fry, warm and comforting. The receptionist barely looked up when I asked to see him, as if I were an intrusion. Her smile felt rehearsed, the polite sort given to someone undeserving. As I stood in the lobby, I heard laughter from the conference room, her laughter, his fiancée's, ringing out clear. They were all in there, mocking me in a way I couldn't understand, but I could feel it. I walked into the room anyway, held the plate out to him. He didn't even look at me. His face stiffened, eyes flicked away like I wasn't there at all. He never even touched the food. His discomfort was sharp, and it cut me deeper than anything he had said. It wasn't the laughter that broke me. It was the way he recoiled from me, the way he acted as if I were some stain on his shiny new life. I stood there for a moment, straightened my jacket, and let my fingers brush over the engraved words on that nameplate. I turned to leave without saying a word. No scenes, no tears. But as I reached the door, he stood up, walked past his wife, past her family, and came up to me. He stopped just before I walked out and said, "Dad, let's go home." It wasn't an apology. It wasn't an acknowledgement of what he had done. It wasn't even an expression of regret. It was a command, as if he were doing me a favor. So I left. Not with him. Not yet. They had no idea what I had built in the shadows. No idea what had made their success possible. While he went off to college, I worked in tech. I built data centers. I learned the ins and outs of scaling servers, and how the corporate world worked from the inside. One winter, I made a small investment in a cybersecurity firm. A favor for an old friend who'd been struggling with foreclosure. That favor turned into a stake, 38% ownership. And guess who became the firm's newest client? His company, the one he founded with his wife, the one that had just landed a major government contract, and the one already under federal scrutiny for shady practices. I didn't need to hack anything. I didn't need to do anything illegal. All I had to do was allow the truth to come to light. It started with an audit. Then came subpoenas, data leaks, whistleblower reports, anonymous, thorough, and damning. Every unethical shortcut, every manipulated algorithm to inflate their metrics, every lie her family had told to cover their tracks, all of it came out in the open. Her father tried to fight it. I watched from the gallery as he sweated under the pressure, trying to bluff his way through a Senate hearing. His face was pale, his eyes frantic. His company's valuation collapsed in 3 days. He called me once. I didn't answer, but I did call the cybersecurity firm, instructed them to terminate their contract, and leaked the reason: breach of ethical integrity. It made headlines. Investors pulled out. Partners froze their contracts. Layoffs began. But I stayed silent. 3 weeks later, he showed up at my house. Not the condo I bought for him. Not the apartment I paid rent on while he was still finding his feet. He stood at the gate of the old house, the one with cracked walls and the smell of rice on the stove. He looked like a boy again, hollowed out. No suit. No watch. Just a broken look in his eyes. I didn't know, he said. I looked at him, but I didn't need to say anything. He knew. You let them laugh, I said. He nodded, no excuses. I stepped aside and let him in. Not because I had forgiven him, but because silence is a sharper punishment than rage. Now, he lives with me again, humbled, jobless, learning how to live without the status he thought was everything. As for me, I go to work every day still. Not because I need to, but because I like the feel of dirt in my hands. I'm not a fake dad. I'm the man who taught a boy everything he needed to know, and then taught him what happens when you forget where you came from. That's the real education.